Happy great day, great people. What is going on? So much is going on. I have to chime in about something that I have been noticing in the media, and I want us to get right into it. So I have been seeing a lot of women more so doing harm to their children. And it's not just physical abuse, because I did the video about Ruby, and there are some of you that may not have agreed with some of the things that I said, but I'm not worried about that. It's okay. However, what I'm noticing to me really is even more so a spiritual battle. It has to be, because I know so many great parents, so many great moms. I have several girlfriends that are just outstanding moms to their kids. So my mom was a great mom to me and my brothers, and I know with parenting comes learning experiences. There come things where as parents, mothers, you have to try different things. But overall, I have never met a mother that I knew personally that willingly did harm to their kid, which makes me really feel like this battle is way deeper than what we could ever have imagined. And I'm like, why does this seem to be coming up so much more so now? We know the times are different. We know that things have constantly been changing, especially coming into 2024. So much has happened. And some of you may say, well, Snappa, if you just go back and look at the news from over time, this is not anything that's new where parents or moms per se have done harm to their kids. But even more so now, I just feel like it's way too much. It's way too prevalent, and there has to be something that we could do to extend our prayers, to be able to put resources out there, for these moms to help them make better choices and decisions. Now, is it all spiritual? I can't say that. Do I know that it's 100% spiritual? I really feel like 90%, especially those that ended the life of their children. I felt like that was completely spiritual. I just have to give mothers benefits of the doubt that that's not something, if they choose to have the kid, they're not going to willingly do something to end the life of their child. I just have to give them the benefit of the doubt. But what is happening here? What is happening in this situation, where I have several clips that I want us to look at and be able to talk about? I want us to look at and, discuss. Now, I'm going to say this. Feel free to discuss if you listen to my words clearly and thoroughly, and not pick and choose and not hear what you want to hear. And if you agree with some of what I'm saying, outstanding. And if you don't, you have a right to not agree. However, when you get in the comment section, please, be a thinker and have an educated conversation in the comment section, because I welcome those. But if it's going to be ignorant, if it's going to be stupid, then you will be blocked. I'm not even going to tolerate that, period. I just don't do it on this channel. So let's get right into the first video, where I'm talking about, and I kind of wanted to do this in the order of most current to something that's happened a little further away. So we're going to do this situation that happened about 2 days ago. This was reported on. And we got to be able to provide some tools to these parents, to these moms, and parents. But this is per se specifically what I'm seeing is mom. And when it comes to the postpartum depression, I have read, and I don't know how long the postpartum depression stage lasts. Things that I've read, typically it can happen very shortly after the mom has the kid. But I know that there must be a range of time that this can kick in for the mom. But when the kid is much older, I don't know if it's considered postpartum depression. And that's why I feel like it's something much deeper than that. So we're going to get into this first video clip.
Tonight, a bone-chilling confession. Pammy May describes in detail how she killed 5-year-old Darnell Taylor almost 2 months ago. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Andrew Kinsey.
And I'm Yolanda Harris. This case started in the early...
And let me stop and say this, and you're going to see in the very... you probably have already seen the disclaimer that I have in the beginning about this being for educational purposes, only, because we have to raise a level of awareness to be able to help. I don't know what the signs are when it comes to if you have relationships with women that could display signs of them wanting to do potential harm to their kids. They may not show this in public, even to their closest friend, to their sister, to their brother, parents, whoever. There may not be a sign that you see right away. However, if there is, we need to be able to look for these potential signs so we can reach out and provide resources, not just prayer, because prayer and works. So we need to be able to provide prayer to the moms, but we also need to extend ourselves to services that can help them make a different choice. So let's get into this.
Morning hours of Valentine's Day, Columbus police issued an Amber Alert after Darnell was first reported missing. Days later, his legal guardian, Pammy May, was arrested near Cleveland, and she told police where they could find the little boy's body. Now, we do want to warn you, the news story tonight may be hard to watch. So let's now bring in 10 TV's Angela Ann, who went through her confession. And Angela, what did Pammy May have to say?
Definitely difficult to listen to all of that video, Yolanda. This was not easy, but Pammy May did not hold back in describing in detail how she suffocated her son and then tossed him down what she called a manhole. Well, tonight, we know now that it was all because that little boy snuck some snacks into his bed. And that's what Pammy May says triggered her to kill him.
Okay, so with that, this is got to be mental health here. There's something in her brain, the wires crossed, because there is no absolute reason, period, why a mom should want to end the life of their 5-year-old. And for that being the reason, there's something that seriously went wrong. And I still feel like it was even more so a spiritual thing in combination with mental health, because snacks, please. I just can't wrap my mind around that.
At least you had children. I had a son. I took your advice, so yeah.
Pammy May showed little emotion as she recounted over and over how she suffocated Darnell Taylor in his bed.
Did he move at all during any of this?
When I first did it, no. 10 minutes later, I knew he was dead because he wasn't moving.
Only a few times May showed remorse.
It was so sad.
Yet even when a nurse comes in, May refused to
mental
stop
health.
confessing
It has to
the
be.
crime.
Her callousness. It was so sad. It's beyond sad. It's beyond sad. That's not even the right word.
Yeah, this is more important. Okay.
This is insanity.
This is about my concern. This is about my taking somebody's life.
10 TV went through more than 30 videos during May's arrest. She tells detectives she caught Darnell eating snacks in bed earlier in the day.
He was probably hungry.
And prompting her to plan out the killing.
And this is all premeditated.
She was probably not
because it's not like
feeding him the way he should be fed. I mean, it's natural.
Okay, so we're going to try to find him where you described.
It's natural for a kid to want snacks and be hungry, especially a little 5-year-old. Them little jokers be hungry all day long. I mean, this is why I say this is beyond mental health. It has to be spiritually connected as well.
Okay.
I'd like to have another conversation with you.
You're going to find him there.
Okay. Okay.
Believe me.
Oh, my God.
Well, we spoke with Pammy May's attorney tonight, especially about the fact that she used that word premeditated herself several times during that confession. Sam Szymanski says he has not seen this video himself, but he told me, quote, "We don't consider her post-arrest comments as dispositive of her mental state at the time of the commission of the offense." In other words, her attorney is not disputing anything she said in that confession, but he's noting the fact that just because someone understands the nature of an offense after it is committed, it doesn't mean that they weren't suffering from something in the moment that it took place. So certainly a story we will continue to.
Well, of course, that's what I said. I feel like something in her mind triggered. I mean, beyond anger, it was complete rage, but that's just not normal. That is not a normal characteristic of a loving mother, a loving father, especially a 5-year-old. So that's the first one. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this situation, I feel like she made a very poor choice just for her own sake. This was stupid.
Accused of ditching her children to go on vacation. ABC 13 was there as the 29-year-old mother was brought into the Harris County Jail after she was arrested for leaving her young children home alone while she went on a cruise. Our Jessica Willie is live with the unbelievable allegations.
Why not just get a babysitter?
And Lakeisha Williams was arrested around 5:30 tonight here.
And then I know it may say, well, it sounds easier said than done, but no, there's services, reputable services like, for number one, care.com. That's a resource where you have reputable nannies, you have educators, you have caregivers who have registered. They're in the terrorist watch list. They have been fingerprinted. They have done all these things to be able to be on this site, to be able to provide services. And then the individual person, parent, who is going to want to hire a caregiver from this website can also do some extended things as well. However, there's no reason in 2024 a person has to leave their children home alone without getting someone that they trust and know to watch them. Let's say you don't know the person, but you trust them because you have gone on a reputable website and you have gone through all the things that you needed to do that. So parents, you could pay a family member, a girlfriend, someone could have been the person to stay with your kid for 5 days. And if you could not have found anybody, then what does that mean as a responsible grown person? Then that means you can't go until you find someone that you can trust that will watch your children. Or maybe it's just not your time to go on a cruise, boo. I'm sorry.
At her luxury apartment building in the Memorial area. According to Precinct 5, the mother flew to Miami last Thursday to catch a cruise to Puerto Rico, leaving her young children home alone for 5 days.
I still don't know the age.
And it would have been
How old
longer
are
had neighbors not been paying attention.
Wow.
From all-you-can-eat buffets aboard a cruise ship to the back of a Precinct 5 patrol car, Lakeisha Woods Williams is accused of abandoning her children. The 29-year-old mother was taken to jail tonight. The details of the allegations, almost hard to believe.
So that don't even make sense right there.
According to court records, neighbors at Williams' luxury high-rise apartment building, the McKinley, sounded the alarm. They said they saw the mother of 2 children leave with luggage and bags last Thursday, April 4th, and never return. On Tuesday, deputy constables with Precinct 5 responded to a welfare check at her apartment and found her 8-year-old son and 6-year-old daughter home alone. The unit smelled of urine, records state, and was in disarray with trash and leftover food strewn about. And they told the deputies their mother had left to go on vacation on a cruise.
Oh my gosh.
Left unattended for many days.
8 and 6. Come on.
Williams is charged with abandoning the children with intent to return. Deputies did find a web camera and cell phone that the children said their mother used to check in on them.
Oh my gosh.
Sufficient?
Absolutely not.
Prosecutor
Please.
Keegan Childers says
Come on, I'm
there's
sorry.
so much potential for danger.
That's too young.
Provide for themselves, feed themselves, take care of themselves,
5
as
days.
well as, what if somebody breaks in? What if there's, a bad neighbor? Any number of horror nightmare scenarios that could come up.
Firefighters found the kids to be in good health. CPS released them to their aunt, who declined to comment. But Otis Darjean, just a curious onlooker and father himself, had plenty to say.
Like, that's a child, so that don't even make sense. Like, why would somebody leave their child, their young kids behind like that?
Okay. So she had people, a luxury apartment, so that she was able to fund to be able to pay someone to come and stay with her kids. That, once again, that you trust. You have several reputable resources out here that she could have used. Now, aunt, meaning that was her sister, you didn't think to ask, or maybe she did and the sister didn't want to do it. I don't know, but nevertheless, it's that made no absolute sense. So, is this situation a spiritual matter to me? I feel like this is more stupidity of the parent. I really do. I'm sorry. She did not think, and her main concern was herself and not her kids. Too young. Of course not. You don't leave an 8 and 6-year-old kid home alone for 5 days. No, no, and triple no. All right, let's go to this situation here. Now, I saw this one it came in my timeline, and when I first saw it several days ago, I was just like, okay, I wasn't going to discuss it. But then when I started noticing all of these other stories, and I'm like, wait a minute, something is going on here. Let's listen to this situation, and I'm going to stop it before I go to the next clip about this same situation.
Murder-suicide that left. We're learning new details about a murder-suicide that left 3 people dead, including an 8-month-old baby. The family tragedy unfolding on Monday on 3 separate locations. Now we're seeing how the events unfolded hour by hour. It all started in Woodland Hills at 3:40 in the morning. The LAPD says the suspect, Danielle Johnson, got into an argument with her partner, Jalen Cheney, stabbing him to death. The mother then fled the scene with her 2 children. 50 minutes later, 4:30 a.m., Johnson was driving on the 405 freeway in Westchester when police say the girls were thrown out of the vehicle. The baby was hit by a car and killed. Half an hour later, at 5 in the morning, Johnson was speeding in the city of Redondo Beach. She crashed into a tree and died. Our Leanne Suter has been closely following this story. Leanne, the sole survivor of this tragedy was the older sister.
Absolutely, Mark. Heartbreaking details coming out about this horrific tragedy. That sole survivor, just 9 years old, apparently witnessing almost all of the deadly violence.
A deadly end to a trail of violence as the mother behind the wheel of this crumpled Porsche Cayenne is killed when she slammed into a Redondo Beach tree. 34-year-old Danielle Johnson is also accused of killing her live-in boyfriend at their apartment and her 8-month-old daughter when she threw the infant and her 9-year-old sister out of her car on the freeway.
The suspect slowed the vehicle and opened the passenger door for her daughter and then told her to get out of the car. And when the daughter didn't do that, she then forcibly pushed her out of the vehicle.
Oh, my God.
In the middle of the freeway while moving.
Now, this here, to me, is a true sign of mental and spiritual, I don't know, challenges is not the word, attacks. Thank you, Lord. Attacks. There is nowhere in your right mind that you are going to do this. What voices she heard that was telling her to do this, it was never stated. But as we continue to listen, and I pull up her Twitter page, you're going to understand why it's deeper than just the mental health situation going on here.
The 9-year-old was holding the 8-month-old baby.
The 8-month-old fell to the pavement and was struck and killed by a passing vehicle. The 9-year-old managed to make it to the shoulder with moderate injuries. A horrific ending to deadly violence that began hours earlier for the sole survivor. Eyewitness News has learned the 9-year-old witnessed her mother stab her live-in boyfriend, 29-year-old Jalen Cheney, to death in their Woodland Hills apartment.
That little girl obviously saw more than she ever should have seen in any life yesterday. So I just hope someone's taking care of her because she's going to need it.
Investigators say Johnson killed Cheney early Monday morning after a fight that rammed the garage gate as she fled with her daughters.
Their door was wide open. There was blood on the floor leading into their apartment, and then a trail of it in the hallway leading up to the elevator, and I saw some blood on the walls.
A short time later, detectives say Johnson pushed her daughters out of her car on the 405 and drove away. Her final act, taking her own life at more than 100 miles per hour. Detectives now piecing together the trail of violence and searching for a motive.
Given that the only witness we really have to this crime now is a 9-year-old girl, there's just very little information we have other than there was a verbal altercation that turned violent and it ended in tragedy.
The 9-year-old now in the care of the Department of Children's Services. Her father lives out of state. It's unclear if Cheney was the father of the 8-month-old who died.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC.
So we know we definitely have to pray and cover the little girl, and also the woman or man or the person that mistakenly hit the baby. Because I was just thinking, she said that, they said that when the baby fell out, was on the highway, she was hit by a car. Well, the person that did that, I know, is completely devastated. We have to pray to cover that person, because that's not what you expect that time of morning to be able to do that. And I mean, that's the least thing you're thinking about, having to do this or that happening to you when you're driving on the freeway. So we got to pray for that person too, because I know they're having a hard time with that. Okay, so the argument that the couple that she had, I really wanted to know if it was something related to her views and what she was thinking. So I want to say this. When people dibble and dabble into other practices that are not of God, that are not of Christ, then you're putting yourself at risk for things happening to you on the spiritual realm that you aren't even aware of. And Nick Jones made a good point. He called it illegally. He said that when you are doing things illegally, meaning in the spiritual realm, you have no business dabbling in astrological things, witchcraft, any of that, the occult, any of that, because you're opening up doors to have your mind playing tricks on you. You're opening up doors to spiritual attacks mentally and physically, and people may not believe into that, may not believe that, and that's fine. I'm not the one to try to convince you on that. That's your own spiritual journey. But trust me, I know it's real. I know it's real. I know it's real. And here is her Twitter page. This is what she says. And she had a large following. She had quite a bit of people who were following her on this platform. I don't know about the other platforms, but I know specifically on X, she had a large following. Over 100,000 and something followers. Wake up, the apocalypse is here. Everyone who has ears, listen. Your time to choose what you believe is now. If you believe a new world is possible for the people, retweet now. There is power in choice. There is power in choice. Repost to make the choice for the collective. And this right here explains a lot. And then another tweet is she says, we can do it. We can do it. Can do it. Believe. You magic is in what you believe. I guess it's supposed to be your magic is in what you believe. I believe we can be free. I believe we can be free. So in this situation, totally wrong, confused, and under a spiritual attack. There's nothing, once again, I'm going to say, there's nothing in your right mind that's going to make you do this. So not only did she end the life of her boyfriend or fiance, she was trying to end the life of both of her daughters. So what was she thinking? What was she listening to? Whatever that voice was telling her to do that, because the eclipse was here and the world was going to end. That's why you have got to know God and Christ for yourself. You can't allow somebody else to tell you, to put things into you, to try this, to read this. You got to seek and search him for yourself, but also you have to be under the right leadership who is preaching and teaching and displaying that in their own life, but also is guiding you in the right direction of who Christ and God is. And is using the Bible as the main tool that they're feeding you from, not some of this other stuff. There's no way, I feel like no way she would have made this decision if she knew who Christ was. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. Unless she had a very twisted, distorted view. But there was nothing in the Bible that makes you think that Christ was even about that life in this way at all, period. He was giving life to people, not doing these types of things. So there was no confusion in that. It's clear as to what his message is. It's clear as to what he stands for. And this is not it. This is why we can't test the waters when it comes to this type of stuff, this nonsense, because look at what happened to her family. Her 9-year-old daughter is going to need therapy, counseling, extensive, I'm sure, for a very, very long time. And once again, we have to pray for her, but also Was this something that you could have seen coming? I don't know. I don't think so, because based off of what her Twitter X page says, there's no way that I would have went to that direction. And I'm wondering what the argument was with the boyfriend. Was it him being completely against where her mindset was, and she just lost it and just lost complete control and snapped, and then it went into effect? But spiritually, if you're already putting yourself out there in a way that's not representing Christ, then you've already opened yourself up to hear for those spirits, for those demons to be in your presence, and to nudge and to whisper and to do those things, to you, because you've already opened that doorway. Okay, I'm wrapping this thing up. Now, this situation, I don't think I did a video on this. I may have, but it may have been something very short, or I was thinking about doing it, but I know for sure that this was just absolutely, I was in tears over here when I saw this. This is complete ignorance, but I feel like this lady has a mental health issue here. I believe something is going on with her. Let's listen to this situation.
Dios y mi hija me han perdonado.
God and my daughter have forgiven me.
You committed the ultimate act of betrayal, leaving your baby terrified, alone, unprotected, to suffer what I heard was the most gruesome death imaginable. You left your baby, Jalen, trapped in a pack and play without food and water for 10 days.
10 days.
This wasn't simply an oversight. I'm going to sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
And
thanks for watching.
What can you say here? 10 days. This was a small kid, baby. And I'm not, there's other videos out there if you want to go and look at, to find out more details. I don't want to because it's just too sad. Too sad. You have to be out of your head. You have to be insane to make a decision like that, to leave your kid in a pack and play for 10 days and you just living it up. It showed where she was on the beach. She posted pictures on social media. So clearly in her mind, she must have thought that that was okay. But where in your right mind do you get that that's okay? That's what I'm saying. She had to have, it had to be some spiritual warfare going on, but even more so in this situation, to me, I feel like mental health, she clearly, something clicked and she thought she was doing, what she was doing was okay. Oh, my baby gonna be fine. I'm gonna be gone for 10 days and my baby gonna be okay with no food and no water. So clearly is something is off here for her to even think that was even feasible. But do you see the pattern that I'm showing you of these women and these kids? Like, what's going on here? What's going on here? And I think the last one that I have is, wait a minute, I think I have two. Yeah, the last, but this one here is completely, I feel completely spiritual. And this is from, she's finally sentenced, but this happened over a year ago. This happened over a year ago.
For the past 8 months, and how can that qualify me as a fugitive on the run when I've also had a detail from Space Force that was following my Space Force.
The mother of a 5-year-old boy whose body was discovered stuffed inside a suitcase 2 years ago made her first appearance inside an Indiana courtroom on Tuesday. Dejon Anderson was arrested last month across the country in California as she attempted to board an LA Metro train. She faces charges of murder, neglect of a dependent resulting in death, and obstruction of justice in the death of her son, 5-year-old Cairo Jordan. Cairo's body was found in southern Indiana in April of 2022 inside a hard-shell suitcase with the print titled, "Welcome to the Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada." A medical examiner reportedly found that he died from an electrolyte imbalance, likely due to gastroenteritis or vomiting or diarrhea that led to dehydration. Investigators say Anderson killed the young boy because she believed he was possessed by demons. And police say Cairo Jordan's mother, Dijon Anderson, isn't the only one responsible for his death.
So, what made her feel like he was possessed by demons? What voice, who was she listening to? What was she doing? What practices was she believing, reading? Who was she talking to? Who was she around? Was she associating with other people, reading, watching certain videos, content? I mean, I don't know. But clearly to me, this is a very, very big, this has spiritual warfare slapped all over it.
Say Anderson's friend Don Coleman is also responsible, naming the two as suspects in a 2022 press conference. Both seemingly attempted to flee. Coleman was found and arrested in San Francisco in October of 2022, then extradited back to Indiana. Meanwhile, Anderson was found 2 years later. Coleman would ultimately take a plea. She was sentenced to 25 years in prison for conspiracy to commit murder and is reportedly obligated to testify against Anderson during trial.
Okay, so she had help in doing away with his body or putting his body. I mean, so soon as she knew that she did that, it would have been a wrap. Bye-bye, peace out, see you later, I'm calling the police. She didn't do that. So this says to me that whatever the belief in the mindset is, she was perpetuating whatever those thoughts were, whatever those views were. It wasn't just her alone. If you don't turn her in, then that means you condone the behavior and the mindset.
Anderson herself is making headlines again for her bizarre appearance during Tuesday's hearing. When the judge asked her name, she didn't respond to Dijon Anderson. Instead, called herself a princess representing her own entity.
For the record, would you state your full name, please?
Yes, I'm a Princess Kalika Hatan Tupapa II, representing the entity Dijon Anderson.
So you're known.
Spirit. So is this the spirit that's inside of her that's saying this is who I am, yet it still acknowledges that she is the host of her body. She is still the host, but yet the spirit is now taking over completely. I mean, I get it. I'm very aware of spiritual warfare, and I've seen some things. And on the supernatural, what happens to people? What do they do that allows them to be attacked, or for these spirits to enter into them and then take control of the mind? Because that's what the enemy does. His goal is to steal, kill, and destroy, alter the trajectory of your human life. That's what their goal is, and this is what's happened here.
Known as Dijon Anderson?
I represent the entity of Dijon Anderson.
Entity.
And your date of birth?
My date of birth is February 2nd, 1961.
1961.
That would make you how old?
That would make me 63 years old.
But Anderson is not 63 years old. She's actually 38. When the judge asked her for the last 4 digits of her social security number, she said she doesn't have one. And when asked for her address, she listed one from North Hollywood.
Let's go back and look at this picture real quick.
Anderson,
I just want to see this picture of her right there.
She doesn't have one. And when asked for her address, she asked her for the last 4 digits.
Look at this picture of her. She seems to be smiling. She seems to be happy with her son. Something changed, and that's the piece that we're missing along the way. Something happened to her where she had that encounter, and it just took over. It just took over, and she made that horrible decision because she thought he was possessed. He had demons. Where? How? Right here, I would have never thought that. I would have never thought that.
Digits of her social security number, she said she doesn't have one. And when asked for her address, she listed one from North Hollywood. When the judge went on to list the charges against Anderson, she can be seen making faces in the courtroom.
Officer Busick, who's investigated this and looked for you for the past 2 years, and Prosecutor Hunt have charged you with 3 counts of criminal conduct. count 1 is murder as a felony, would indicate that between April the 10th, 2022 and April the 16th, 2022, in Washington County, state of Indiana, you did knowingly or intentionally kill another human being, that being child victim number 1, contrary to the form of the statutes in such cases made and provided by Indiana Code 35-42-1-1, parentheses 1, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. Count 2, neglect of a dependent resulting in death as a level 1 felony, would indicate between December the 1st, 2021 and April the 16th, 2022 in Washington County, state of Indiana, you being at least 18 years of age and having the care of child victim 1, a dependent, less than 14 years of age, did knowingly place said dependent in a situation that endangered the dependent's life or health and which resulted in the death of child victim number 1. Count 3, obstruction of justice as a level 6 felony, would indicate that between April the 10th, 2022 and April the 16th, 2022 in Washington County, state of Indiana, you did alter, damage, or remove a record, document, or thing with the intent to prevent said item from being produced or used as evidence in a legal proceeding or an administrative or criminal investigation, contrary to the form of the statutes made, in such case provided. The murder, a felony, has a range of imprisonment from 45 years to 65 years, with the advisory sentence being 55 years and up to a $10,000 fine. The level 1 felony, neglect of a dependent resulting in death, has a range of imprisonment from 20 years to 40 years, with the advisory sentence being 30 years and up to a $10,000 fine. And the level 6 felony has a range of imprisonment of no time in jail if it's treated as a misdemeanor to 2.5 years at the Indiana Department of Corrections, with the advisory sentence being 1 year and up to a $10,000 fine. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
After the judge listed the charges and potentially lengthy sentences she faces, he asked if she wanted the courts to get her a lawyer, and she responded, "I want to represent myself."
You understand if you do that, you are required to conduct yourself as a lawyer to be able to voir dire the potential jurors, to abide by the rules of evidence, to abide by the rules of procedure.
I do understand. I have a master's in history.
That doesn't give you a law degree, though.
But I do understand how to read procedures.
All right. All right. Just because you represent yourself, doesn't ensure yourself of a good lawyer, you know.
Exactly. And it's just, you need all the help you can get in this situation. I mean, you really do. And for her to think that she is able to defend herself, to me, just shows, you know, how far removed, and she's not even wrapping her mind around what's really going on. I feel like spiritually, you know, truly disconnected. You have no absolute training, period. If you're not an attorney, then you need to allow the expert to give you some advice, at least.
That's a personal opinion, but I understand.
Make your request in writing, okay?
I will. Can you give me at least just like 5 days?
I can certainly give you 5 days to do that. I think what my intention would be, let me ask you this. Can you afford a lawyer?
It's not that I can't afford a lawyer. It's that I want to do self-representation due to I understand the nature of my case, and I understand that this is my life on the line, and I do understand that there are things that involve my case as far as the evidence that I hold, which is Q classified evidence, which should be turned over to Judge Advocate General Courts immediately, if possible, because my case involves other cases that are open currently with Judge Advocate General Courts, as well as federal investigations that are open.
Well, if the Judge Advocate General approaches us, we'll address it at that point in time. How about I appoint you standby counsel?
Right.
No, thank you. All right. You make your written request.
He tried.
I need to advise you, you have a right to a speedy public trial by jury in this county. You have the right to face all witnesses against you, see, hear, question, and cross-examine those witnesses. You have the right to have witnesses brought into court to testify on your behalf, and at your request, the court will issue subpoenas requiring those individuals to come into court to testify on your behalf or to bring evidence in. You have the right to have the state prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to remain silent. You cannot be required to give any testimony or make any statements against yourself to anyone. You do have the right to be heard in your own defense at any hearing or trial concerning the charges against you. Anything you say, however, may be used against you. Do you have any questions concerning your rights?
No, I do not.
When the issue of bond came up, prosecutors urged the judge to set the highest amount because Anderson is a flight risk.
It's almost a 2-year mark of officers locating this, at the time, unidentified little boy in the woods. So I would argue that the defendant has been a fugitive since that time. Her identification has been made. I think that raises any bond in a murder case to be something of the utmost importance and should be of an amount that should be very difficult, if not impractical, for her to be able to afford. I feel she will be abscond from this court. She's never been from Indiana. She's not from Washington County, is my understanding.
But when the prosecutor was speaking to the judge, Anderson announced an objection, seemingly blaming the NSA for why she couldn't be found for 2 years after her son's death.
State the basis of your objection.
The basis of my objection is the fact that I am not a fugitive. I have been under NSA surveillance for the past 8 months. And how can that qualify me as a fugitive on the run when I've also had a detail from Space Force that was following my every move? When I contacted
all right. Let me tell you, that is not a valid legal objection. If you want to represent yourself, you're going to have to learn the rules of evidence and the rules of procedure, because if you conduct yourself like this and make these types of objections, you have no chance in the world, lady.
And that's real. And we can tell here something is wrong. Something is off. She is under some type of spiritual spell. Something is not right. She's been under the surveillance of NSA and then mentioning Space Force. Okay.
So objection overruled.
Listen to the judge.
I will let you make argument in regards to bond.
Well, thank you. So that's my argument is that I have been under surveillance by NSA for over 8 months. I also have a detail that follows me everywhere I go.
A detail. Spirit.
I also contacted the Indiana State. I think it was a federal marshal that I called to have my location tracked to pick me up. So there's no type of extent of me running where I need this astronomical bond on my charges.
The judge wasn't falling for Anderson's excuse as to why she never turned herself in.
Right.
Well, that's sort of interesting because it's my understanding Officer Busick has been in touch with almost every one of those agencies and they haven't been able to identify your location until recently. So I'm going to set your bond at no bond at this particular point in time. But if Space Force comes forward and tells me that they're willing to monitor you, we'll take up the issue of bond at a later time.
The judge then ended the hearing after the Washington County prosecutor and Indiana State Police held a brief press conference saying they feel a sense of relief now that she's facing her charges.
Obviously, we're happy that this day is here. As the Indiana State Police, this investigation's gone on for almost 2 years now.
Wow.
Detective Busick's done an outstanding job along with other Indiana State Police detectives and personnel from Washington County Sheriff's Department and the prosecutor's office in bringing this investigation to this point. So Dejon Anderson arrived here in Indiana over the weekend, the early morning hours on Saturday and Sunday morning. So we're happy that she's back here in Indiana on our soil where she can have her day in court. So naturally this is very early in that process, as you saw.
Wow.
You know, the type of...
Okay, so To me, that is clearly, we see she's been invaded, and her mind is just, it appears to be all together, but I feel like even when she sounds like she knows what she's talking about to a degree, it's still something else that's overpowering her. There's no absolute way in her right mind that I feel like she would have made that decision. So this spiritual warfare is real, and I feel like it is attacking mothers against their kids. This is insane. And this is the last case, the last one, you all. This happened over a year ago. And when I saw this, I'm like, why is all this coming up on my timeline? I know there was one point that I wanted to have like my channel be something related to like, solving crimes and stuff like that. So I feel like why certain things have been popping up on my timeline. But it's just when I kept seeing mother, ending life of child and doing things to harm their kid and not being, responsible, I said, no, it's something else going on, and we need to look at it and be able to at least call it out so we can help to prevent this happening further as much as possible,
The arraignment for a West Hills mother accused of killing her 3 youngest children has been pushed to August 10th. Police say Angela Flores confessed to murdering her 12-year-old daughter, Natalie, 10-year-old son, Kevin, and 8-year-old son, Nathan, last weekend. This morning, Eyewitness News learned that Flores believed her children were possessed by demons. Authorities say her 16-year-old son helped commit the crimes. Flores remains in jail on $6 million bail. Her teenage son is in juvenile detention without bail.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content.
So we just heard it. We just heard that mom killed her 3 kids and the son helped. The 16-year-old son. I know for kids, when it comes to having to make that decision where you are running for your life because this horrible thing that you're about to do because your parent is asking you to. I don't know what the kid could have been experiencing, but just overwhelmed. I don't feel like he was in complete agreement. But what does he do in that situation? Run for your life. Run for your life. If possible, if he helped, then she already was in the position of where she would have possibly killed him as well if he didn't help. I don't know if that's the case, but she also too felt that her kids were possessed. So what was possessing her? And this is why I say spiritual warfare is real, and it controls your mind. That's the whole point, is to control your mind, because when it controls your mind, you are not able to make a rational decision. You're doing things based off of a falsity, stuff that's not real. And that's why we have to renew our mind. What does that mean? We have to stay in the word. But I just can't even understand what this mom was going, what she was going through. Of course not. I can't wrap my mind around it. However, I will say that we have to continue to pray for mothers to be able to parent their children, even the parents that have the most difficult kids to parent, because there's some instances out there. I'm going to do another video on that one. I saw that it was a clip where I saw another content creator put up, and the kid destroyed the house because the mom took the cell phone completely. And those are the types of kids that I'm talking about when you have to do other strategies under different circumstances to be able to manage and find help that the kid needs. Because at this point, the kid needs to be removed from the household. Now, let me focus on this. But what I'm saying is we have to be able to help and provide resources. And once again, I don't know if, how to prevent these things if you don't see the signs, but it needs to be some way that we're able to provide resources, whether it could be sending flyers. It could be stuff that we, paid ads. I don't know, but we have to continue to pray for them. And we also have to see if you notice something different about, in your friend, in your who's a parent, mom, or even a dad. But these were all women. These were all women, which speaks something to me. The mother is the caregiver. She's the gentle one. She's the one where the kid comes to for the nurture. Dad is the protector. He's the one that, does the thing, keeps the house together and all that kind of stuff. So it's 2 different roles here. But mom is the gentle one. She may even also be the disciplinarian, but she still may do it a little different from the dad. But mom is the caregiver, the nurturer. The kid comes and she's, she's extra care. She provides the extra care, and the dad may say, well, no, he's okay. And she'd be like, no, let me get a hug. It's different. But this is where the breakdown is coming, and this is what's under attack. So I want us to definitely pray pray for mothers, specifically dads too, but I want us to pray for the sanity of mothers, for their mind to continue to stay whole. And if they don't know who Christ is, we pray that they find Christ and get into a good Bible-based church under a great leader, prophet, bishop, pastor, apostle, a man of God, where there's also other resources there for them that they can get the help that they need. So, okay, guys, I hope this, has just brought some light and raised some level of awareness. And if you know of any parents, if you need me to provide resources, send me an email. I have my email address down there. You can email me. You can also DM me on social media. Instagram primarily is the one that I check more so than any other ones. And I see your comments down below, so I can respond to some of the comments. If you need resources and you have a friend you want, don't hold back. You need to reach out so they can get help, because these things can be thwarted if we have the right people to help them. Okay, good people. Thank you for your support. Let's get in the comment section educatedly. Please be thinking first before you speak in the comment section, because this matter is touchy. This is a touchy matter. I do support parents, and I want them to be able to make the best decision as possible when it comes to caring for their kids and getting the help that they need, because each child is different and each situation is different. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Love you. Smash the like button and share this video. Share this video so we can get moms the help that they need. Love you guys.